This is Standing Watch. And now, Evangelist Norbert Link.
Greetings everyone, and welcome back to our Standing Watch program. About 2,000 years ago, Jesus Christ made a profound statement. It was a statement of warning and of hope. He said that we are going to reach the time during these last days when there's going to be great tribulation, so great, which has never been happening before and which will never happen again. And unless those days would be shortened, no flesh would be saved alive. No flesh would survive. And when he talked about flesh, he didn't just mean human beings. He meant every life known on this planet would die. Now, how close are we to this time? And of course, Christ gives us the word of hope, saying that those days would be shortened. And he would return to shorten those days, to cut them short so that there would be survival on this planet. Now, The Hill wrote a remarkable article on May 15, which I like to bring to your attention. And they talked about the question of nuclear war. And they said it's not an issue of if, it is an issue of when. And they said this: since September 11, 2001, analysts have been increasingly concerned terrorists might steal, buy, build, or be given a nuclear weapon, and the war on terrorism would become a nuclear war. The Department of Homeland Security's National Planning Scenario number 1 is detonation of a 10-kiloton nuclear weapon as powerful as a Hiroshima bomb in a location such as New York City or Washington, D.C. That is the main concern, as this article says, of the Department of Homeland Security. It goes on to say, many experts warn an act of nuclear terrorism is not a question of if, but when. But then it goes on to say this: until the recent protracted nuclear crisis with North Korea, relatively less attention has been paid to the increasing possibility of nuclear war between nations. One day, perhaps soon, this may well prove to be a fatal mistake for millions. And I like to add, no, not millions, billions. Billions of people. He goes on to say, in the West, generations of leaders and citizens have been educated that use of nuclear weapons is unthinkable and the ultimate horror. And that's why you read more and more about news articles which say, oh, nuclear war is an impossibility. It's not going to happen. It's nonsense. Now, these people who write this are terribly mistaken. The article goes on to say, not so in Russia, China, and North Korea, where their nuclear capabilities are publicly paraded. Missile launches and exercises are televised as a show of strength, an important part of national pride. Russia and China run TV documentaries describing how they would win a nuclear war with the United States. An electromagnetic pulse, or EMP attack. An electromagnetic pulse, or EMP attack, would be the most militarily effective use of one or a few nuclear weapons. Now, what is meant by that? The article goes on to say, high-altitude EMP attack entails detonating a nuclear weapon at 400 kilometers altitude above the atmosphere in outer space, so high that no nuclear effects, not even the sound of the explosion, would be experienced on the ground, except EMP. An EMP attack will kill far more people than nuclear blasting a city through indirect effects by blacking out electric grids and destroying life-sustaining critical infrastructures like communications, transportation, food, and water in the long run. But the millions of fatalities likely to eventually result from EMP will take months to develop, as slow as starvation. And some analysts think, according to this article by The Hill, the world is on the threshold of a new nuclear age, where the likelihood of nuclear use is greatly increasing. My friends, the Bible is telling us that nuclear war will happen. The Bible is clearly prophesying that the nations of this world will use nuclear weapons to try to destroy each other. And many cities will be destroyed by nuclear attacks. But it doesn't even have to only be nuclear attacks or direct nuclear attacks, like for instance, the concept of EMP would be one variable. But there are more. The Daily Mail wrote on April 14 about the first time when in this case America has used a non-nuclear weapon so powerful that you could always compare it with a nuclear weapon. It says, the US dropped its largest non-nuclear weapon on ISIS in Afghanistan, the GBU-43, otherwise known as the mother of all bombs, or MOAB, M-O-A-B, unleashes a devastating fireball that incinerates and vaporizes everything within 30 feet when it first detonates. In the milliseconds following the initial blast in Afghanistan, all the oxygen would have been forced out of the tunnels and for hundreds of feet around, literally sucking the life out of ISIS terrorists, suffocating them as their lungs imploded. The blast would have caused many within 2 miles of the blast to lose their hearing, and everyone left alive would have been shocked and left in awe by the sight of a terrifying mushroom cloud. So you have those weapons at the disposal of mankind. Then you have chemobiological weapons. Some we know of, others we might not even know of yet. But the book of Revelation is telling you that those weapons will be used as well in this coming World War III. A war so bad, so devastating, that as Christ said, unless he were to intervene, no flesh would survive. The question is, my friends, how close are we to these awful times? We are very close. If you look at the signs of the time, you know that you are very close to the Great Tribulation, but at the same time also to the return of Jesus Christ. And that is the message of hope. The message of hope that Christ will return to make an end to this madness caused by human beings, and I don't care what side you are going to be on, because this war is threatening to destroy all life on this planet. Pray to God that you will be counted worthy to escape all these things which are surely going to take place, and to stand before the Son of Man when he returns. We have prepared a free booklet, The Great Tribulation, the Day of the Lord. You must read this booklet because it's telling you from the pages of the Bible what is going to happen, but it also is telling you how you personally can survive these times if you are counted worthy by God for that special privilege. Thank you very much for listening. This is Norbert Link for the Standing Watch program.
Standing Watch is a presentation by The Church of the Eternal God, P.O. Box 270519, San Diego, California 92198. More information is also available at our website, eternalgod.org.